Hi everybody, my name is Jerome Wright and you're watching my Jeronification channel. Um, I have a image up here of the title of the image is named The Wingmakers. I do not know the artist, nor did I bother to actually to see who the artist was of this painting. However, I will state that I got the image from I first came to finding the image because it was actually on a post on Layla 1982. She's a member of AU, Alien UFOs, as so is that of Perfection, who posted it on a comment on one of her blogs, which is the title of this thing is something about a satanic school or something like that. There, anyway. This is where this image I first came to realize that this image existed, and it was through Alien UFOs member, which I am a member of. Perfection had posted it. Okay, and I started out posting this on Alien UFOs, but I stayed there. It took so long for me to actually create the post that I actually lost connection, so I lost the whole thing. So I said, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna make a video because it's easier, and then I'll just go ahead and direct everybody from AU to here, as I do with you here on my YouTube Jeronification channel. I'll direct you to my alien UFO sites, where there's a lot of information on how I arrived at everything that I'm doing here today. I evolved through that site in order to do what I'm doing here now, in other words. Okay, I want to explain to you what's going on with this. The painting, the style of this painting actually reminds me of the style of that of the of artist the late Salvador Dali, who actually was a surrealist painter that would make these similar types of paintings and all. And this style reminds me of that. Okay, I'm not saying that this is Salvador Dali's painting because I don't know. Okay, but I just want to show you. I'm going to give you a fast explanation of what is actually being shown here. I know it looks like something in so much as far as an alien. I don't know what other or if this is online or what other people perceive it to be. But I'm going to tell you what as soon as I saw this, through my understanding and seeing these images and understanding Renaissance artwork, which I've been decoding for some time and all, I'm going to show you what I get from this. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little story, okay, of what happened here. So I encourage you to Google this image. It's called, all you have to do is just Google wing makers. That's it. And this painting to actually come up, or a painting of wing makers, and this image to actually come up. Okay, let me show you what this is. Here's a seed right there. The brown represents the seed. The seed came from space. There's this stream, like an entwining umbilical cord shown extended from space, which is, there's the moon, there's the stars, shows you the stream of this umbilical cord, this umbilical cord of energy landing our world in the form of this seed right here. Now, the seed landed, when it landed our world, the seed landed our world and our world's ocean waters, which is signified through here in this portion right here, representing the ocean. Through an evolutionary process, through our oceans, the seed eventually evolved up onto land, which is signified as through here, and then rebridged through our ocean waters, which is shown here. Now, we're still on a seed now. Now, through this evolutionary process, the seed, through its evolutionary process, these microorganisms mutated, which actually later calls for that of the female organ, which is the vagina. This now becomes, through the seed, look, it even shows you here. Here's the seed from space, ocean waters. Now it becomes the vagina. Now, all of this is verified from here. There's a pool of ocean water down here, as stated. As shown right here. Now it's pulled out, it becomes this vagina. The seed from space here becomes the vagina. Off to the side, you see that the indication of the seed is here based on the roots. The vagina side is over here based on this blood, this egg taken from the chemistry that I mentioned over here. These streams represent semen. We come over here and this egg, which I'm telling you represents that of blood now being created. It shows you that this here is an indication that the two genetic, not two genetic strands, but the forms of genetics that were formed from this chemistry was semen and blood, which calls for later creations of mankind. But check this out. In this now created new seed, which contains blood and the semen, there's the triangle, which represents fertility. The cross, which I have told you for the first time, you never heard it before, only in my discoveries, that the cross means, the true symbolization of the cross means the cross-referencing of the genetics of mankind. And this is the symbolization of the cross. And in many of my videos, I actually made references to this as well too, but I'm not going to get sidetracked. Okay, I have 116 videos now, so I am the first person in this world to state that the cross represents the cross-referencing of mankind's genetics. Now, shows you through these chemistries over here that calls for the creation of this, shows you now that they don't show you a black man or show you Africa over here or show you ape, but this is over here is what this represents. Okay, it shows you through all this chemistry that ape and black man was created. And then what they do is that they show the blackness here, and then they show a snake snaking off the blackness. Now, and I had poor copy in here because my ink was running out, my color ink was running out. So, but there you'll see, and when you Google this image, that off this blackness over here is a snake-like object coming over, and it comes over down behind here and goes out. Okay, and you'll see it here, which means that this spider web over top of it means that these genetics were overcame and manipulated and bridged. What were they bridged with? I'm going to tell you in a minute. They were bridged with reptiles, which is indicated by this creature here, and a reptilian bloodline was bridged over that of our ancient ancestor, which was the ape, which gave us a reptilian ancestor. Through that, our reptilian ancestor was rebridged, okay, over different civilizations of creations, and this is what this is actually showing here. This mass is indicating native civilizations, reptilians, and the manipulations of bloodlines, which subsequently calls for what we are today. And that's what this entire message is about here. It's also, in a short version, for those that already know this ancient secret, it's verified right here. Down here it shows you 1, 2, like almost like 3 coins, like shown taken from the ocean of genetics. Shows a fish-like creature there which is actually, there's a leaf in the middle letting you know that there was a bridging between sea life and land life. And it shows you that there were genetic bloodlines which actually calls for later bloodlines, which calls for different likenesses of mankind, or different genetics of mankind. And that's what this image is about, people. That's what all of my discussions and all my videos have been about. These artists that enjoy the knowledge of knowing how we evolved from space, how it all happened, this umbilical cord from space, in the form of a celestial seed, and how it evolved through our ocean waters to create the vagina. What was taken out, what was created, and then how it's genetically bridged back across the land, and the peoples that it was bridged across, or the civilizations that it was bridged across. And then if that don't beat all, in this bridging, look how it's shown at these levels of what was taken out. And there's symbolizations for symbolizing of at the heart, representing blood. At the groin area, which represents the semen, the alterings. And then check this out. This guy's bridged back across in his green outfit, which represents reptilian. And then shown, look, re-bridged back, look, doing a full cycle from all of this. And then shown eating off the original seed from which it evolved. And it's shown going in its mouth right there. People, this is serious business. This knowledge is not just represented here in this cartoon-like image. This knowledge is also in every ancient Renaissance artist's artwork, which has been overseen by that through an era of Christianity. These artworks, they didn't originate from there, because you have cave art, you have glyphs. All of this stuff all says the same thing. I don't care whether you're from Japan, whether you're from China or Asia, any of these places. All of this stuff, people, is a record identifying who we are, how we got here, and how we genetically became what we are today. And it's through a manipulation process that is continuing. It's continuing through to today. And we are being genetically altered from a point in time that began in space, through our ocean waters, onto Earth's lands, and through Earth lands, to become who we are. And it is still happening again in the cyclonation process. And now from here, this cyclonation process, which I'm telling you, is something that is beyond the comprehension of and the ideas of most people, but yet a reality to others that can actually make paintings like this and make record of it, showing their knowledge of this, their higher knowledge of this. It's something that I believe that has always been in us instinctively, but we just refuse to understand it, or try to understand it based on the blocks that we have, which you put in your mind through our education and through our religion, that we refuse to see this, but yet we can sense it. We're drawn to it because we identify with it, and the reason why we identify with it is because we're instinctively connected to it. It's like having an idea and sensing where you came from, but reality as you were taught it blocks you from seeing the truth. It's like that block is away from me, and I can see this, and this is how come I can explain this to you. Each and everything in here tells you who you are and how you genetically came from space. The seed. later evolved into the vagina, the female reproductive organ, which was pulled from the ocean. It even shows you how this puts the brush marks as it's being pulled from the ocean. I know the creatures that caused for all of this. It's all recorded in these Renaissance artist paintings. I can tell you what vagina they're referencing on all of this, people, and what creatures we were pulled from the ocean. These artists knew it. And then they reference all of this stuff about these native people, about Africa. I mean, I'm black, I'm African, so therefore I'm African American. It's telling us that a spider web was put over those genetics. Those genetics are blocks. They're trapped. They're trapped. Signifying that by the spider web, meaning that spider webs represents an entrapment. These genetics were utilized and then they were entrapped, meaning that they're obsolete. They were only used to genetically bridge, and they were genetically bridged with that of reptilian. And then the other likenesses actually were created. And that's what's going on here, people. And I mean, I can't stress enough, you know what I mean? All my videos are consistently the same, and I can show you this. And not just this artwork here, in modern day artwork, I can show you dating that back to the beginning of time. Catacomb images have this. I think it's dating back. I went back to I think a 2nd century catacomb image. Okay, and I mean, and coming through to beginning, and even cave art before that has how mankind evolved from that of genetic bridging with these creatures, with these ancient creatures. The Peruvian burial stones show you these guys, these likenesses. These guys have their axe into the dinosaur, and has the axe handle up to their mouth, showing you that they spliced this dinosaur genetically, and the blood, the chemistry from that, showing you that it's in them now. And then if that don't beat all, these likenesses that you see right here, like this alien-looking guy, on these Peruvian burial stones, they show you that their likeness is just like that of the creature that it seems that they're slaying. Their faces are just like the dinosaur. So I'm telling you that it's a representation. Their axe, their knives, and the handles to their mouths, and the way that they're intermingling with these creatures, is that they're showing you that they are genetically unioned with these creatures, and this is why their appearance is identical to that of the creature that we are led to believe that they're slain based on what scientific analogy of it is. So how can I tell you that there's genetic bridging and explain to you in common sense layman terms that this is a case where these, hold on for a minute, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. That these creatures and these earlier examples of mankind and existence of mankind knew that we genetically evolved from dinosaur. I mean, it's amazing, people, how logic is before us, but it is dismissed immediately by scholars, by so-called scientific experts, whom have this ancient hidden knowledge, some, not all, and have an agenda behind it all. And their agenda is capitalizing off of their higher knowledge and keeping you in the dark about it all. People, you have common sense. I can't keep explaining and telling you this stuff and the significant value behind it all. I've just read this painting to you. I just read this painting to you. What's on surface of, well, actually, what's there right there before your eyes? A seed from space. This is a cutaway image of a seed from space. It shows you inside of the seed what transpired. An umbilical cord landed off world. on one continent, or in one continent area of our world, and then evolved out. What was pulled out was a vagina, pulled out of the ocean waters, and it shows you here. There's the vagina, and from that vagina came semen and blood. There's the triangle, representing fertility. The cross represents the cross-referencing of all of those genetics that was pulled from here. And then it shows you genetic bridging. It shows you, look, shows you the trail of these genetic bridgings and the civilizations that these bridgings occurred across. Shows you that the genetics from that chemistry and that cocktail on what happened. Look, and then it shows you this creature with its mouth back over here, taking on these genetics again, on the genetic bridging, and then showed you how they're genetically bridged and how alterings were taken out and what was going on there in the likenesses. And a new genetic strand was actually created. And you can follow this from the beginning to the end. Well, not to the end, because there is no end. From the beginning to now. And I can tell you where certain bloodlines are at, where you can expect them to be, especially dealing with the Vatican and dealing with the royalty of our world. Through different civilizations, the ancient civilization, the Asian civilizations, all of these genetics people are mentioned on different levels of evolution and everything can actually be read in it. It's a genetic holy grail. That's what it is. And some artists have the knowledge. This is an ancient knowledge. Artists has evolved. Artwork and artist styles have evolved from the beginning of time. So artists of today, their work is based on our modern day artists' works. For those that know that those that have mentors that evolved from the earlier era and from the art schools, that those chemistries and that knowledge evolved. This is the ending result right here. This is a product of that, a protege of what actually of a knowledge that an ancient kept secret knowledge that evolved from the beginning. From cave art, from glyphs, from that ancient secret knowledge, from the arts of the Renaissance era. All these artists did was just change things to look all discombobulated, and allow people to misconstrue this as being angels, being aliens. When in reality, people, this is a blueprint of who you are and how you were created, and how creatures were genetically bridged, which evolved from microorganism state from here to becoming what we are today. My name is Jerome Wright. You're watching my Jeronification channel. And before I go, I just want you to say that the name of this painting is called The Wingmakers. It's my position that the name of this painting speaks for itself. But I do know why it is named that, specifically why this painting is named that, to be totally honest with you. And up until this point, you were in the dark about this painting. Now look at it though for what I've just explained it. From space, landed our world in one continental location through our ocean bodies of water. This represents, this portion right here represents water. You see that? From there to there represents water. That umbilical cord from space pierced our skies, landed our waters, evolved onto land, and came out. It shows you a genetic bridging And what was pulled out was the female reproductive organ right here. Okay? And this umbilical cord, you can actually look at this basically. In my mind, what comes to mind when I see that umbilical cord, and it's like a vine extending from space, I look at that as being the male organ, which is that of the penis, piercing the vagina. I mean the ocean waters. Okay, laying the seed. Okay, and through that came the female reproductive organ along with males as well too, and pulled from the water, because once the female was created, the vagina was created, everything else there came from. And it shows a bunch of genetic, I mean, these mutations and all of that is in these Renaissance artist artwork, and everything that I'm telling you here, which is in this cartoon-like image, is in Leonardo da Vinci's artwork, is in Michelangelo's artwork, in Rembrandt's artwork. I've even seen it in Picasso's artwork, George Quentin's artwork, Doors artwork. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And each one of their styles, in some kind of way, say the same exact thing, but yet they all have a connection to each other, because these great artists only became great because of their higher knowledge about this, and their ability to reference it in encryptions and encryption styles and in their paintings as a record, as a genetic grail, as a genetic record to how mankind was created. And it's been kept secret from you until now, until you hear me explaining it all to you. My name is Jerome Wright. I'm not going to ramble on as much as I would love to, but I just keep going around and around in circles and all. Basically, what I need is some experts. I need an expert narrator, and I need some experts behind me that actually take and can put everything that I'm saying in layman terms into scientific lingo, to where it can actually be, this image can be read in a scientific way that it actually needs to be read, and narrated in a way that it needs to be narrated, and therefore you can possibly get your understanding in the way that you should be from this. But meanwhile, I don't have all of this, so I just have to ask you to bear with me in my videos until I either go viral or get discovered. But I can take this and everything and break it down. I don't care who the artist, the level of success that an industry or anyone has, whether it be in Christianity and whether it be in religion, no matter what it is in our world. And let's put it that way, without mentioning no specific group. Let's take all that back. No matter what it is, if it references how we were created through my paranormal experience and encounter, let me sneeze again, excuse me. Excuse me. Through my paranormal experience and encounter, if it references how we were created, then I know what it is. People, I was seeing images, multi-dimensional images, which actually is how this stuff here evolved. This painting artwork style evolved from multi-dimensional images that were first created, and those multi-dimensional images appear in space, in nebula matter in space. I seen them, and then I seen multi-dimensional images on rocks. I see multi-dimensional images in cave art. I see multi-dimensional images in sculptures. And then I seen all of that first, which references everything that I'm detailing here. And then you start seeing it evolve from those images, those multi-dimensional images, into artists putting it boldly and boastfully into their artwork, which is very easy to analyze after seeing it from where it came from in the first place. You see, so seeing this is easy for me to understand because the hardest is from where it originated from. This is easy. It's like going backwards. You can take this artwork and go backwards and see where it came from. My name is Jerome Wright. I'm going to get going. You're watching my Jeronification channel. I'm also on Alien UFOs, and I'd like to thank Alien UFO member Perfection for bringing this to my attention by posting the image and his comments to Layla, I believe it's 1982, who is also a Alien UFO member, and also a member here on YouTube. And I'm just letting you know, people, that I'm just thankful that I can actually see and I can read this, and I'm thankful for others for actually making me aware of certain things that, through their postings. Okay, so my name is Jerome Wright. I'm out. Thanks for viewing, and as always, share this information. Thank you. Hi everybody, my name is Jerome Wright, and you're watching my Jeronification channel. I have a image up here of the title of the image is named The Wing Makers. I do not know the artist, nor did I bother to actually to see who the artist was of this painting. However, I will state that I got the image from, I first came to finding the image because it was actually on a post on Layla 1982. She's a member of AU, Alien UFOs, as so is that of Perfection, who posted it on a comment on one of her blogs, which is the title of this thing is something about if this is online and what other people perceive it to be. But I'm going to tell you what, as soon as I saw this, through my understanding and seeing these images and understanding Renaissance artwork, which I've been decoding for some time and all, I'm going to show you what I get from this. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little story, okay, of what happened here. So I encourage you to Google this image. It's called, all you have to do is just Google Wing Makers. That's it. And this painting will actually come up, or a painting of wing makers, and this image will actually come up. Okay, let me show you what this is. Here's a seed right there. The brown represents the seed. The seed came from space. There's this stream, like an entwining umbilical cord shown extended from space, which is, there's the moon, there's the stars, shows you the stream of this umbilical cord, this umbilical cord of energy landing our world in the form of this seed right here. Now, the seed landed, when it landed our world, the seed landed our world and our world's ocean waters, which is signified through here in this portion right here, representing the ocean. Not a satanic school or something like that there. Anyway, this is where this image, I first came to realize that this image existed, and it was through Alien UFOs member, which I am a member of. Perfection had posted it. Okay, and I started out posting this on Alien UFOs, but I stayed there. It took so long for me to actually create the post that I actually lost connection, so I lost the whole thing. So I said, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna make a video because it's easier, and then I'll just go ahead and direct everybody from AU to here, as I do with you here on my YouTube Jeronification channel. I'll direct you to my my Alien UFO sites, where there's a lot of information on how I arrived at everything that I'm doing here today. I evolved through that site in order to do what I'm doing here now, in other words. Okay, I want to explain to you what's going on with this. The painting, the style of this painting actually reminds me of the style of that of artist the late Salvador Dali, who actually was a surrealist painter that would make these similar types of paintings and all, and this style reminds me of that. Okay, I'm not saying that this is Salvador Dali's painting because I don't know. Okay, but I just want to show you. I'm going to give you a fast explanation of what is actually being shown here. I know it looks like something in so much as far as an alien. I don't know what other